Maybe you're the result of some sort of genetic experimentation.
I don't think so.
But you have no recollection of family.
No, wait. I remember I'm with my father. We're lying in the grass. It's a warm Gallifreyan...
Gallifreyan?
Gallifrey! Yes, that must be where I'm from. Now, where is that, I wonder?
I've never heard of it. What can you remember of it?
A meteor storm! The lights shining up the sky! Purple, green, yellow, yes!
What?
These shoes! They fit perfectly.
The sky above us was dancing with lights. Oh, green, orange, yellow, yes. The shoes, they fit perfectly, yes. Yes, Paul. Paul, I love you. Come to... Why won't you notice me, Paul? Just turn this way. Just turn this way and notice. Just notice me. No, don't kiss her. Why kissing her? Paul. What's so special about her, Paul? What's so special about Grace, Paul? You idiot. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to call you an idiot, Paul. I love you.
Oh, Paul. Those shoes do fit perfectly on you. You are the Doctor when no one else could be as good as you. Ooh, and your voice, so perfect, so ethereal. You are just the essence of the Doctor, a perfect being. Oh, Paul.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, Nick here, and welcome to my review of Doctor Who, the movie. The 1996 Doctor Who television film that was set to launch a revived Doctor Who in the United States, starring Paul McGann as the Eighth Doctor. However, due to low ratings in the US, the show was not was not picked up by Fox. So this is a one-off standalone TV movie that was, until 2013, Paul McGann's only on-screen appearance as the Eighth Doctor, discluding the Shada webcast, if you count that as a visual visual appearance. So yeah, and also this story has quite a lot of names, as well as Doctor Who the movie. It can also be known as Doctor Who the TV movie, or which is short for Doctor Who the television movie. Sometimes it's just Doctor Who, and that's what it appears in the titles. This review is basically, in thinking this edit, I'm just calling it Doctor Who the movie, whilst maybe in the video list it might just be called Doctor Who or Doctor Who the movie. One of the alternative names suggested by the executive producer and main spearhead of trying to make the movie, David Siegel, was The Enemy Within. And I think another, I think, was it French? I'm not sure, but a English translation of another country's title was The Lord of Time. I think Doctor Who the TV movie or Doctor Who the movie sound good. I think they work really well, and hey, we've got a Doctor Who movie at long last. I mean, it didn't air in cinemas. Well, okay, some countries did air in the cinemas, and it did air at BFI in 2013. I didn't see it there, but boy, I wish I did. But besides that, it's not actually aired in cinemas, or at least not in the UK, US, or Canada, apart from the BFI screening. Some other countries maybe. But it'd be great to see a cinema release. Well, maybe for its 25th anniversary in 2021. Perhaps we can have a Doctor Who the movie 25th anniversary cinema screening, even if it's BFI again. That would be really cool. Okay, so the plot of the movie is, starts us off. Apparently, Skaro has not been destroyed. It's been brought back somehow. I'm sure some expanded media is out there. I think the novel that came out shortly afterwards, War of the Daleks, tried to fix that, but the continuity there was a bit muddled. Anyway, the Seventh Doctor has been called by the Master, who obviously he's escaped the Cheetah Planet, and he's now been captured by the Daleks, and they've put him on trial for crimes against the universe. Why the Daleks are putting him on trial is anybody's guess. Also, I have to say what you like about the Day of the Daleks, Dalek voices, God knows I have, and also the Frontier in Space ones. But these Dalek voices here, we don't see the Daleks on screen. They probably didn't have permission, but they were allowed to do the voices. But director Jeffrey Sachs provided the voices himself, and they don't sound like Daleks. They don't even sound like robots. They sound like a kind of more fleshy, stereotypical organic aliens. They don't even sound like robots. Or at least maybe it's a squeakier robot, but not the more robot you would expect from a Dalek, let alone the fact it doesn't even sound like any Daleks. It's like, exterminate. That's a bit too gruff. It's, I don't know, you need to check it out for yourselves. I will say that the Paul McGann narration over it is amazing, and sadly, whilst he doesn't get much time to shine as the Master, I give praise for Gordon Fripple for his very brief time on screen. There's actually some really good fan edits out there that swap Paul McGann's narration out with some of them with a Master reading his final request, whether this is a alternative take of Fipple's voicing or someone else, or is to be seen. There's also some fan edits that incorporates the Destiny of the Doctor Master cutscenes into the story. Of course, I think at least that latter one, they swapped the Dalek voices with the Nicholas Briggs new series Dalek voices as well, thank God. But anyway, after that, we get to the Doctor Who title sequences, and wow, this is a quite impressive title sequence. This is something you would expect from a movie, or at least a TV film. And my God, I love this theme tune. I love the Doctor Who movie theme tune. Oh, so cool. It's also the first title sequence since the original to notably not feature a face in the title sequence. And this will be the case up until 2012 with the Snowmen's titles. And then it disappears again when the 13th Doctor's titles are introduced. Maybe later down the line they'll come back. And also notably the first title sequence to feature the name of the actors, or at least the lead actors, in the title sequence. Something, again, the new series, all of them, will do with the main Doctor and companions/companions. In this case, it's the main cast, with Paul McGann, Eric Roberts, the Master, Daphne Ashbrook as Grace Holloway, the companion, Eigthth Toso as a sort of companion, sort of second main villain, I suppose. Depends what you want to say about him. Personally, I can consider him a companion, but he does work with the Master quite a lot. But he's next. Sylvester McCoy, then Eigthth Toso, and then two other guys who are basically the most notable supporting cast, I guess. I would have thought Professor Wag was the next most notable supporting character. Anyway, we get into the movie properly, and some of the production credits continue into the first scene, but we get into the movie properly as Paul McGann's narration wraps up, and we see Sylvester McCoy, 7th Doctor, placing the remains of the Master in a kind of a metal or steel box and placing it on a desk. He then goes off to enjoy himself. However, the Master turns out not to be dead. He's now in this kind of snaky form and escapes. He causes the TARDIS to crash land in 1999. San Francisco, America, to be precise. It's around here we get introduced to Chang Li, played by Eigthth Toso, and his gang of... I'm not sure what the gang... I guess they're Chinese gangs or East Asian gangs members, but I'm not sure. And there isn't really much focus on them. Maybe it's just a street gang. Maybe you don't need a whole lot of backstory onto it, but it would have been nice for a bit more of Lee. Apparently this happens in the novel. There's a bit more of Lee's backstory, but it's a shame we didn't get more of him in the film. There's also some scenes around here that are cut from the TV broadcast version of the film, because of some shootings being similar to the shootings in, I think it was Dunblane, a Scottish town, earlier in 1996. So some shots around here were cut and edited out. There's also some other slightly edits to Lee's death later on. However, the shooting of the Seventh Doctor was left into the broadcast version, which, by the way, the broadcast version is also the version that appears on the VHS, and also on all TV repeats, apart from the 1999 Doctor Who night, where they showed the uncut version of the film, which is the version that we get on the 2 DVDs from 2001 and 2010, and the 2016 Blu-ray. Speaking about home media releases, the VHS of the TV movie back in 1996 was actually, I think it was released just before the BBC One broadcast. That's like, I don't know, pre-orders of a Doctor Who Series 7 Part 2 Blu-ray being shipped out to people just before the final episode aired. Oh, God. How silly would that have been? Oh, wait. And that was just the American Series 7 Part 2 Blu-ray, by the way. But still, one of the plus side, at least we got a nice Matt Smith and David Tennant's conversation clip as a reward for no spoilers. So I'd just like to thank all the people who got that Series 7 Part 2 Blu-ray before the final aired and did not spoil anything. It was just a nice little clip with David Tennant and Matt Smith. Anyway, back to the TV movie. So the Doctor is shot down and Chang takes him to the hospital. We also get introduced to Bruce, the paramedic, played by Eric Roberts. He's taken note of this character. He's going to be quite important to the film. And they go to the hospital where the doctors and nurses remove the bullets. Surprising that the Doctor is in such a critical condition, considering one bullet went through his left shoulder. This one, no, that's the right. This one, left shoulder, no. Right shoulder, left leg. 2 bullets in the left leg, 1 in the right shoulder. Yet he's in a critical state. I mean, he would be in pain, but if they didn't do any harm, why is he kind of out for the count? You would expect that he feels more seriously wounded. They then bring in Dr. Grace Holloway, played by Daphne Ashbrook, to sort out his heart, since they're still beating badly, and they try to provide an operation. However, he wakes up and realizes what's going on. And then we get to the Seventh Doctor's desk, where they do provide some bad surgery due to not really understanding his biology and his potential resistance against it, and eventually they cause him to die. Unintentionally, but they accidentally cause him to die. Whoops. So the Doctor's body is sent to the morgue whilst Chang steals his things. And also the Master, in his snake form, acquires Bruce's body. So he's now taken over that. So now the Master will be played by Eric Roberts. As like with Tremor, played by Anthony Ainley, he's going around wearing the body. The only difference is he's not morphing the face to fit his a more mastery design. He's just going to be how he is. He just needs to take a few minutes with the walking and the talking. As we see in his first scene as the Master when he wakes up. And then at night at the morgue, the Seventh Doctor, he's knocked out due to the anaesthetic, and it does kind of cause the regeneration to come late. However, in that morgue, the Doctor does regenerate into the new 8th incarnation, played by Paul McGann. He then wakes up and walks out of his morgue. Basically, he actually has amnesia. He does start remembering stuff about his culture and his people later on before he finally realises who he is. But he's got kind of a bit of amnesia due to the anaesthetic here. As he mentions, it nearly destroyed the regenerative process. He was dead too long. Yeah, he can remember some things like that, but he can't remember who he is. It does kind of take its time. Anyway, after a really great dramatic scene in the abandoned ward, the 8th Doctor finds himself a new costume, and the Master goes out to try and find him. But the Doctor recognises Grace and follows her, and once she realises who he really is, and that he's telling the truth, she takes him home with her. That sounded funny, actually. Like a little lost puppy. And then they have some scenes at Grace's home where they talk a bit, and we get to understand the two to get a bit more. And they start building their friendship / relationship. Meanwhile, Bruce, aka the Master, goes to the hospital, but then he's informed of Chang taking the Doctor's stuff, so he goes off So he heads to the TARDIS and somehow gets himself in and waits for Chang, who then comes along and then persuades him into joining, trying to get the Doctor's body by claiming that the Doctor stole his lives, and he's trying to get them back. He's kind of a bit threatening to start with, but then later on he starts turning all nice and friendly. Actually, to be honest, Eric Roberts is possibly, I mean, to be fair, he doesn't have the best performance, but he's still fun to watch, and I think his best bits are when he's being nice, when he's putting on his nice persona, when he's being kind. I think that's his best bits. I think his worst bits are possibly when he's going all-out monster later on, but it still comes to an epic climax. But more on that later. Anyway, the Doctor and Grace go out for a walk, where the Doctor realises that the shoes he's taken from... Where the Doctor realises that the shoes he's wearing are perfect. That's a really nice scene. It's coming up to around the halfway mark. The Master and Chang use the Eye of Harmony to find the Doctor, as well as also the Master is planning to use the Eye of Harmony to steal the Doctor's lives. The Doctor realises the Eye of Harmony is open and that they need to get a beryllium clock to fix everything. The Master and Chang pose as people driving the ambulance to take them to the hospital, but instead head to the Institute of Technological Advancement, I think. On the way, the Doctor realises that Bruce is the Master, kind of gives himself away a little bit, and they escape the ambulance and steal a police motorcycle, and then we get an epic ambulance motorcycle chase scene that's really brilliant put together. And the music is so great. I'm going to talk a bit more about the cinematography and the music later on, because I need to address them as a whole. But the motorcycle chase is an amazing scene. It's one of the best in the film. Really exciting, really thrilling, for a Doctor Who story at the very least. I don't think, apart from the motorcycle stunt in Survival Part 3, we hadn't really had this level of action in Doctor Who before. This is new action. This is probably due to the new TV standards of the time. I think TV is constantly changing, and as well as also being an American network as well, we've also got the change in TV style, and then this TV style kind of gets used similarly in the new series, although still remaining true to the classic era's ones. Anyway, they get to the Institute and they get up to the beryllium clock and manage to take a little chip that they can then use to fix everything. And they think they've sorted everything out when they do, but it then turns out the eye has been open too long. So they have to go back in time and try again. However, the Master and Chang catch up with them, and they do the whole setup where the Master's going to take the Doctor's lives. Grace is possessed by the Master, but the Doctor is able to convince Chang that the Master's lying, to which the Master promptly snaps his neck. He likes doing that. In the American version of the film, he snapped Bruce's wife's neck. In the UK one, it was just a strangle. And then the Master uses Grace to open the Eye of Harmony so that he can steal the Doctor's lives. However, Grace is able to go back and reset everything so that the Eye of Harmony is closed and the world and the universe is safe. However, when getting in between the Doctor and the Master during the transitioning, the Master then goes ahead and kills her by throwing her off, I suppose, one level to the other, because he throws her off and she hits the side of the Eye of Harmony. The Doctor and the Master then have an epic fight, one-on-one, reminiscent of that of the fight in The Deadly Assassin 20 years earlier, and which ends up with the Master accidentally falling into the Eye of Harmony. He will be resurrected to fight in the Time War by the Time Lords see Big Finish and Utopia The Sound of Drums Last of the Time Lords. The TARDIS also resurrects Chang and Grace due to them travelling back in time, so making them alive again. And they realise they've saved the world, and everybody's able to celebrate New Year's Day without any universe-ending problems. They were able to celebrate Happy New Year before, but the universe was about to explode, but Grace was able to stop that, so they just celebrated Happy New Year, and then they go back in time, and now everyone gets to celebrate Happy New Year. And yeah, who wouldn't want to celebrate the turn of the millennium? Yeah, I was on Fair Green in Strawberryworth, a town not too far away from my hometown. Don't even remember it, but apparently that's what happened. So, yeah, 2000. Can you believe it's 2000? Wow, so much optimism, so much hope. Sadly, all of this happy, looking forward to the future stuff. Everything was going to change. Not 18? 20 months later, things will go downhill. And yet all of this happy optimism, everyone being really excited for a brand new era, brand new millennium, brand new century, just all of this hope and optimism that throughout the 90s, after the Cold War, people have been building up the hope and optimism of the 21st century, and people have been looking forward to it, and we're here. We're in the year 2000. It's finally here, century 21. And then 20 months in, 9/11 fucking happens. And the world completely changes. And like Doctor Who with the TV movie, and then again with the new series, the world is never going to be the same again. So yeah, all that hope and optimism ruined within 20 fucking months. To quote the master from Last of the Time Lords, human beings, greatest monsters of them all. Yeah, but in 1996 we still had that hope and optimism for the 21st century. So we can still enjoy the ending, and we can still get really happy at the very end. Chang returns the Doctor's stuff, and the Doctor lets him have the gold dust the Master provided him. And they say goodbye to Grace. By the way, lots of fans have complained about the Doctor kissing his companion. I actually don't mind it. I actually think it's quite nice. So I'm fine with the Doctor kissing his companions. It's better when it's plot related, if it's necessary to the plot, like in Parting the Ways or in Smith and Jones, or to develop characters like in Flesh and Stone. But I actually don't mind it here. And the Eighth Doctor is possibly the most romantic Doctor up to this point. I mean, you could argue the 10th Doctor is the most romantic Doctor, but it's either 8 or 10 that are the most romantic Doctors. An actual joke I've heard is actually that the Eighth Doctor likes sleeping with all his companions. I don't know if that's true or not, but I think he certainly has an attachment for all of them. He's certainly in the audios. He certainly falls in love with Charlie Pollard. So yeah, 8 and 10 are the most romantic Doctors, I guess. And it's actually quite interesting seeing a more human Doctor this time round after the more alien Doctors of the 6th and 7th incarnations. But yet also not being quite as naive as maybe the 5th Doctor. The 5th Doctor was probably a bit too human. Whilst 8, I think, kind of does a nice middle ground between the two, which actually principally makes him one of the best incarnations. Whether he is one of the best incarnations for you is up for your decisions. And again, you'd have to focus on specific areas, and sometimes you have to focus on specific areas. Anyway, so the movie ends, and the 8th Doctor goes off on new adventures, and the movie ends with that fantastic theme at the very end. So, Doctor Who the movie. What do I think? Okay, I know this is a controversial opinion, but I fucking love this film. I loved it. Okay, the plot's not amazing, but I love how it was put together. The Master, I actually kind of enjoy the Master and Eric Roberts. However, there are points where he's not very good, when he's kind of doing this more monstery phase for some reason. But when he's being a bit more human, then when he's pretending to be a person, or he's pretending to be nice, or just acting a bit more human, he's actually really great, and I actually think he's actually very good in the role. Paul McGann is outstanding as the 8th Doctor, and I'm glad also we got to see Sylvester McCoy return for 21 minutes to see him as the 7th Doctor before regenerating into the 8th Doctor about the 22 minute mark, just before 22 minutes in. And then he takes over. I also think Daphne Ashbrook does a fantastic job as Grace Holloway, and Yiti Toso as Chang Li. Supporting cast also have some fun moments, like Pete. He's kind of fun. He and Ted, who work in the morgue, they're kind of a bit like, they're kind of dickish characters, but I suppose if you're working in the morgue, you've got to be a bit more chirpy and upbeat, but they do kind of come across as a little bit prickish in some points of those scenes. But a couple of times in those scenes, they do come off a little bit prickish. I also really like Professor Wag. He's only on screen for a few minutes, but he's quite fun. He's only on screen for a few seconds, but he's really fun and really enjoyable to watch. I also like how they got Eric Roberts' wife in to play Bruce's wife. It's a nice little Easter egg. I also like Gareth. He too only gets a few seconds, but it's quite fun when the Doctor makes predictions for him. And I also love the bit where he supposedly has the piece of the beryllium clock in his left hand, but it turns out to be a jelly baby. Jelly babies make a return in this story. We saw a brief a Jelly Baby bag in Mysterious Planet, but since the Fourth Doctor series ended, there hasn't really been that much Jelly Babies. And the movie, I think, was gonna see more Jelly Babies in the show, but after this, they kind of disappeared for a while. Apart from the Master having some in Sound of Drums, they disappeared until possibly Mummy on the Orient Express, when the 12th Doctor had some. There might be other examples, but I'd love to see Jelly Babies back more in the new series, along with the Martian Karate and Venetian Aikido. Actually, the Venetian Aikido has been making a bit more of a regular reappearance, but the Martian Karate Chop and the Jelly Babies must come back. Moving on to the more technical side, I actually think this is directed really well. I think there's a lot of fantastic cinematography, especially in the action scenes and in the more grand moments, like in the climax, and it's all edited really well. I think the only problem with me in the editing is that there are some bits that some of the audio for some characters, not in scenes, just characters, it doesn't line up, like the Dr. Swillinger when Grace is threatening to quit after he's proposing to hide the evidence of the Doctor's existence. The audio doesn't line up with him, and some other characters, sometimes characters who have, maybe in some scenes, the audio doesn't quite line up. This might be due to the PAL speed up for the DVD release. This might be due to the fact it's sped up. But unless that is the case, the speed up doesn't really affect it that badly. I think it's actually okay. So I'm not sure what it was with that audio editing. If it was the speed up, then okay, that's a problem there. But if not, then speaking of sound, the music by John Debney. This music is outstanding. This, along with The Living Daylights of the 15th James Bond film, these two, they have the best film and TV scores I've ever heard. And I've heard some amazing scores over the years. And this it's so beautiful. You can tell why in my own personal fan films and projects, that I use this music quite a lot, especially the earlier tracks, which I have quite a bit more access to. But it's such a fantastic score, and quite a few other fans agree. Roland Guron did a 3 or 4 part Doctor Who fan film where I think it was just the TV movie music, and other Doctor Who and Pope Zygon Productions regularly use John Debney, Lewis Fiber, John Spoltner music in their fan films and fan audios. It's so fucking awesome. The music is mainly composed by John Debney, but there's additional music by John Spolter and Lewis Fiber. And to be honest, I think they may as well just have all three of them have co-credits as music composers, because I think there is a lot of themes by Sponsler and or Fiber, maybe with or without Debney. The theme tune, by the way, is credited to Ron Grainer on the soundtrack, at least for writing it. I think, or composing it, I should say. I think it is arranged by John Debney, and he does a fantastic job there. And yeah, the music is outstanding. I absolutely adore it. And yeah, so on a technical level, Doctor Who the movie actually really works, and they managed to make Vancouver in Canada look like San Francisco in America. This probably explains why Canada got to show it first on Sunday the 12th of May 1996, with the US following on Tuesday the 14th. We in the UK got it on Monday the 27th, a week after John Pertwee sadly passed away, so it was dedicated to him. Not sure why they didn't want to broadcast on Fridays or Saturdays is anyone's guess. I mean, Sundays it makes sense, it's a weekend, but Mondays and Tuesdays, I guess Saturday evenings were not available, or Friday nights. But anyway, so Doctor Who the movie, it's not completely perfect. I will admit that there is some flaws. Like sometimes Eric Roberts' performance isn't that great, but I do really like him in quite a lot of it. And some of the directional decisions or writing options are a bit questionable. But for the most part, it's a really brilliant, really well executed, fantastic attempt to bring back Doctor Who, and I really enjoy it. Not 100% perfect, but still really, really solid. I will be giving Doctor Who the movie possibly one of the most controversial scores of 9 out of 10. very high, very controversial. It used to be 10 for a while. For a long time, it was a 10, and in the best Doctor Who stories I've ever seen. Then it went down to a 9, then to an 8, and now it's back to 9. So, yeah, I still think it's a brilliant, brilliant film, and I really enjoyed it. Still some issues, like the Doctor dying from bad surgery and some of the Eric Roberts master bits, but I can still enjoy the other bits. And yeah, so Doctor Who the movie. Sadly, Fox did not go ahead with making a full series due to low ratings in the United States. So this meant this would be Paul McGann's only on-screen appearance. Thankfully, he would get Big Finish audios. Thankfully, he would get Shard of Webcast, which is the visuals to a Big Finish audio anyway. And of course, he would become the Doctor once again in the Night of the Doctor. Hopefully, we'll see him again. And now, after this attempted revival of Doctor Who, there was now no longer interest with it anymore. Now that this attempt had failed and no other attempt had succeeded, I think people just gave up in trying to get it back on screen for a few years. But Doctor Who would be recommissioned by the BBC in 2003, and in 2005, Doctor Who returned in Series 1, Episode 1, Rose. So that will be the next official episode of the series. That's the next main episode. However, there's still a few more Wilderness Years stuff to look at. So I'm going to be doing a bonus review of Destiny of the Doctor's cutscenes. It won't really count as the proper Wilderness Years. It'll be like Fixed Whistle and Tyrants. There'll be a bonus review. And then the remaining Wilderness Years stuff will be The Curse of the Fatal Death, the webcasts Death Come to Time, Real Time, Sharda, and Scream of the Shalka. The former three being Flash animation, and the latter being a more proper animation. Which, again, this was another attempt to bring back Doctor Who with a new 9th Doctor, played by Richard E. Grant, who played the 10th Doctor in Curse of the Fatal Death. But shortly after that got started up, the new revived series was announced. And then 2 years after Scream of the Shalka, Series 1 started. Well, closer to a year and a half, I should say. But, yeah. So we've got 5 more Wilderness Stuff years to do, plus a bonus one. So after Death of the Doctors, which I shall do next, but after Death of the Doctors will be the next proper Wilderness Years review, The Curse of the Fatal Death, starring Rowan Atkinson, Richard E. Grant, Jim Broadbent, Hugh Grant, and Joanna Lumley. Oh my god, a female Doctor! In The Curse of the Fatal Death, with Jonathan Pryce as the Master and Julius Wifala, who was originally, I think they were planning to cast as the new companion for the 7th and 8th Doctors in season 27 as the companion of The Curse of the Fatal Death, Emma. So tune in for The Curse of the Fatal Death review. This will also be Stephen Moffat's first Doctor Who script and Roy Skelton's final Doctor Who story as the voice of the Daleks. So, yeah, so even though Doctor Who the movie didn't launch a new revived series, there's still plenty of Doctor Who joy to have in the next coming years, just before we get to the actual revival of the show, which I am bloody looking forward to. I am super well, it's my favourite series, so of course I'm hyped for Doctor Who Series 1, but a few more Wilderness Years stuff to do first. Some really good, and 2 I haven't seen yet, but I'll give them a watch first. No problem. But I'm still really excited for Series 1, and it's going to be awesome. Anyway, so that's it from me. Thank you for watching this review, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye. Don't forget to click below to subscribe to the official Nicholas Payne Retro YouTube channel. The 1996 Doctor Who television TV film. I think the movie, Doctor Who the movie, is probably the best name, as it is the TV. It's the TV, or the TV movie at the least, because I think that does work. It doesn't have an actual proper name, so we're just calling it this. I think yeah. but Nicholas, sorry, there's some really good fan edits out there that swap the Gordon Fripple mark. Fun fact that, and this will stay, this will be the, and then it will go away again after the 12th Doctor and then with the 13th Doctor's titles, it's then removed. So yeah, and it's also notable it's also the most notable first, and the Doctor goes out to. It's around here we get introduced to Lee, so some scenes around here were cut. So some scene, and also on all TV, and also on all repeats of keep this character in mind. He's going to pop up later on. But so the Doctor is then sent to the morgue and placed in the it's like a little lost part, but more on that later. And then we get an app. And again, we'll get a new sort of a more, and then this TV style is going to be a bit more, and then this TV, although more so. But anyway, the Doctor is able to convince Chang that he's, however, similar to in The Deadly Assassin. The TARDIS is then also able to resurrect Grace and Lee. The TARDIS is also, wow, the world would never be the same again. So, yeah, all that optimism comes down to all that human being. So, yeah, we can enjoy the ending of the movie. Fuck you, bastard! And we can still get really excited. And the Doctor said Chang would, or to develop the characters like in Flesh and Stone, or in Smith and Jones, or besides him. But then you've got, which actually makes him one of the best ones by principle. I think. Also like I also like the Easter egg that they got Eric Roberts' wife Eliza in to play, and I think that's about it. Oh, Gareth is an alright character. Jenny Baby is making a surprisingly notable, but they kind of, but with this one, okay. And even if the story isn't that great, but to be honest, besides, I think it actually does work. I think all the audio and I don't think it sounds too bad. Yeah, to be honest, it did used to be 8. To be honest, it did. Sadly, like I said, Fox would not renew the series, would not pick up the series for. But yeah, Doctor Who Series 1. But yeah, I'm still. Gallifreyan? meteor storm, flying across the sky. Colours flying in the night, purple, green, yellow. A meteor. That's probably the closest I'm gonna get to remembering that. That's actually my best time.
Okay, right, use as much of that as you want.